Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make a wreath like this with 5 lines of symmetry in it. We're going to make it using the symmetry tool for some of it and the duplicating tool for parts, but we're not going to do any duplicating any final artwork so that we don't get, if I just show this one, you can see the difference in quality here. This is the original part and this is the bit that's been duplicated, and you can see we end up with fuzzy lines here from duplicating as opposed to the more crisp textured edges here. So we're going to look at how to do that in Procreate using the symmetry tool to get 5 lines of symmetry, which is a thing that can be tricky to set up, and also not duplicating any final artwork. So let's go back out into our gallery, and we're just going to start with a square canvas here. So the first thing that I'm going to set up is my guidelines. So we're going to go into the actions up here, and we'll go to the canvas and we'll turn the drawing guide on, and we're going to edit the drawing guide, change it to symmetrical, and let's put it in quadrant so we can easily see where the middle of that is. We can tap done. You can use any colour for this, doesn't matter. Make sure that you have assisted on your layer. If you don't have that there, you can get it by tapping and choosing drawing assist. So then I'm just going to draw a line from the middle up to about here, just to mark the first part, and I'm going to just hold it so it snaps into place as a straight line, and then you can let that go. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, and then I'm going to click on transform, tap on this green handle up here, and we're going to rotate it 72 degrees. That's 360 divided by 5. And then we're going to duplicate this bottom layer again. And then this time we are going to rotate it 144 degrees. So then we are going to merge these 3 layers together, and I'm going to turn off drawing assist now, and I'm going to get my eraser and I'm going to erase this one, and this one, because we don't need those lines there. It doesn't have, this is just going to be rough guidelines, so it doesn't have to be perfect, and it also doesn't even matter if you erased a small part of it like that. That's absolutely fine. Now, back with the pen tool again, I am going to add a small mark in this corner and a small mark in this corner, going all the way off the edges, because that's going to allow me to select the whole canvas when we duplicate this layer. Click on transform, and we're going to flip horizontally. We can now merge these layers together, and we've got our 5 lines of symmetry marked out there. I am going to do one more thing, which is duplicate this layer, click on transform, and I want to find out and see where the halfway point is here. So we know that was 72 degrees, so we need to rotate it by that divided by 2, which is 36. So now we have the halfway point marked out as well. I'm going to reduce the opacity on this one so it's easy to see what is what, and then those 2 can be merged together. I'm now going to add a layer above this one, and I'm now going to draw a circle that goes really roughly just around the outside, stop at the top and hold, and then up here we're going to tap on that and change it to a circle. Then we are going to transform that circle. Make sure you have magnetics and snapping turned on, and those 2 all the way up to the top, and then we are just going to center it. It should be pretty much centered anyway, but we can just drag this around until we get those 2 orange lines snapping there, and then we can let go. Then we can pinch those together, and that is now our guideline for drawing this wreath. So we're only actually going to sketch out one section of it that will go from here to here, and then we can duplicate that sketch around the canvas. So I'm going to add a layer here. And again, I'm only working in sketch here. I'll just choose a black for this. This isn't final artwork, so this part is going to be okay to duplicate. So I think I'm going to have the flowers meet each other here, stem there, and then some little detail in the middle. So let's rotate this round, and using this curve as our guideline for the direction we're going to go in, I'm just going to draw a rough tulip shape there. Doesn't have to be perfect because, as I say, we'll be sketching over this. It's kind of okay. And then I'm going to bring the stem back to there and then draw a few sets of leaves. Let's make them a bit more curved like that. And then what I actually should have done was turn the symmetry on for this layer, but we can still fix that. If we add that line in the corners again, we can duplicate this layer, click on transform and flip it horizontal. Then we can merge it down, and now we can go into our edit drawing guide, and if we turn symmetry options to just vertical now, and click done, and then go onto this layer and tap on drawing assist. So if you ever forget to turn on the guidelines and drawing assist when you meant to, that's an easy way of fixing it. So let's carry on drawing this now. I think let's do a heart in the middle, and then in between the flowers, because we'll have another one coming here, maybe let's just have another small heart in the middle there. There we go. So that's the basic of our design that is then going to be duplicated all around the canvas. So we already have these outside marks on this. If we didn't have those, let's just erase them. If you didn't already have those on at this point, then this is where you would add them in. And then we're going to duplicate this layer, tap on transform, green dot again, and 72 degrees. And then we can go back to this bottom layer again, tap on that one, duplicate it a second time, transform, green dot, and we're going to rotate it 144 degrees. That's 72 times 2. Now at this point, we can merge these three top ones together, duplicate again, transform, and flip horizontal. And then we can merge those two layers together, and that is the perfectly balanced, perfectly spread out, 5-pointed symmetry sketch layer for this folk art wreath. So now it's just a case of colouring this in on the layers, like adding layers above for each colour and filling in the motifs as we go. As you can see here, these lines are quite fuzzy compared to these much clearer original layers. The difference between that, and that is what we don't want to have in our final illustration. So for that, we're going to be tracing over the top of these, because I don't like to duplicate final motifs. So we can add a layer above, and I'm going to turn on drawing assist because I do want to use the symmetry tool for this one. So I'm going to choose a red colour for these tulips, and just make sure I've got symmetry turned on, and we can just go ahead and draw these tulips in now. You don't have to worry about keeping this completely symmetrical. Like, the whole reason that it's nice to draw this, each one of these by hand, is that you still have the nice spread and the nice balance, but you maintain the hand-drawn look, because not everything looks completely symmetrical, and that's the thing that I like. So we just draw one half of the design in, and then we can use the fill tool to colour these in, the colour drop. So just drag from here into your dot, into your flower, and turn up the threshold almost as high as you can go, just to minimise the amount of these lines. We'll have to go over and trace those later. But yeah, colour drop, and then you can continue filling and then just fill those other motifs in. Luckily we only have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because these will be reflected over there, but then just go over and trace over those edges so that you don't get the lines around the edge. If I turn off the sketch layer and this one, you can see we don't want that edge showing. If you use Photoshop as part of your illustration process, I do have another video which shows a shortcut for correcting these after you've done the drawing in Photoshop, if you don't want to have to go around and trace these as you go along. But as we're making this one just in Procreate today, I'm going to go around and do them the old-fashioned way and fill them in like that. And as you saw there, that's reflected those changes on the left-hand side. So there's our tulips done. Let's add another layer now, and let's do these hearts. Did not turn drawing assist on. I'm going to fill these and trace as I go, I think. I think I might leave those and do the ones in the middle of the flowers a different colour. And this one. So that's those hearts done. Let's add another layer. The reason I like to use one layer for each colour is that it makes editing, if you want to change things, colours around later, it's much easier to do if they're all on separate layers. Drawing assist. And then this one here. Then let's add another layer for the stems. We'll do those in, let's go for this dark green. Turn drawing assist on. Let's make this come out from underneath the tulips. So we'll drag that to below the tulips and then we can have it come out from underneath. There we go, and then we can add a layer above, sorry, let's put a layer below that actually, and then choose a lighter green, and let's add these leaves in. Did I put drawing assist on? Nope. Let's undo that and turn on drawing assist. There we go, and then we'll use colour drop to fill all of these in. And we can now turn off our sketch layer because we don't need that anymore. Quickly go ahead and colour in all these edges on the leaves. You'll find if you're not using a textured brush like this one, if you're just using a flat brush, that you should be able to get the threshold up high enough when you do your colour drop that you don't get any of those edges there. But if you're using a textured brush, you'll find that that's always going to be an issue. So now I think all that's left to do is to add a bit of shading onto this. So I'm going to alpha lock all of these layers. Let's go and put some shading on the leaves. So let's use a more textured brush and use a colour a little bit darker. And just add some darkness coming out from the middle of the leaves. And then I'll choose a colour a little bit lighter and just add some lighter shading to the outer edges of the leaves. And then on the tulips, can grab our red again, choose something a bit darker for the bottom of the flower. And then choose something a bit lighter. Just add some shading to the top there. For our yellow layer, which is this one, just add a little bit of texture over the top there. And I think I might just do a little bit on the hearts as well. Just choose a slightly darker colour. And then this one, choose something a bit lighter just to put on the top of the heart there. There you go. And then we can turn off the drawing guide. And there you go. That is how to make a symmetrical folk art wreath with 5 lines of symmetry in it. You've got nice crisp edges on all parts of the drawing. We've not got any duplicated parts in our final design, so this is a good quality for printing or reproducing. And you could put some lettering in here or sell this as a piece of clip art for on Creative Market or something. Hope you like this tutorial. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, let me know in the comments.